Hey guys, welcome back to this channel, which is normally about magic, but today I'm going to talk about the possibility of Russian troops invading the city that I'm living in right now. Different topic than normal, different niche, but seriously, like crazy, things have been escalating here in Ukraine with the Russian troops on the borders, and it looks like they can invade at any second. I thought I would stop and make a little life update video for everyone, let you know what I'm thinking about that, as well as, spoiler alert, at the end of the video, I'll talk about the fact that I got COVID and my experience with that as well. So about Ukraine. Well, I've been living here in the capital city, Kiev, for the last 4 years. It's affordable, I like the people, it's become my home. It's where I live and make my YouTube videos. And during this whole time, there's been a war ongoing between Russia and Ukraine way over on the eastern border. There's people dying. But Ukraine is kind of widely shaped, and that's way over here in the east, and I'm about in the center of Ukraine. So if you were to take a walk out in the streets of Kiev, it would seem pretty much like normal life. People going to work, people laughing, people living. That's just kind of how it is. So I, like many other people living in the city, are aware of that conflict going on, but just kind of focused on our daily lives here in the city. All that has changed in the last couple of weeks because of this increasing escalation of tensions with Russia. There are some estimated 100,000 Russian troops on the Ukrainian border. And at first it was kind of on the eastern side, and it's like, uh-oh. But Putin has deployed a lot of those forces to the north in Belarus, about 4 hours away from Kiev. So my point is, now this is something that I need to personally consider. I and all the people living here in the capital city have to consider. Really, it's crazy how much things are escalating. One day it's like, okay, there's troops in Belarus. Then the next day, Putin has added tanks there. Then there's jets. Okay. So that's the situation. Now I want to let you know what I'm thinking about it. And so I just think, like any person, I'm thinking rationally, what should I do? Well, first off, I'm thinking I don't want to leave. I have my friends here. I've got all my YouTube equipment. I've collected books, priceless books about magic tricks. You know, this is my whole filming studio for my YouTube videos. So I don't want to leave my home. I don't want to suddenly be forced to try to find a new place somewhere else and see what I'm able to carry with me. But on the other hand, if there will be a real invasion into the capital city, and if it's violent, well, I don't want to die either. So with these like threat analysis situations, you're supposed to say, okay, what is the seriousness of this threat, A, and then B, what is the likelihood it will actually occur? So, you know, I'm following the news and everything, and I'm thinking like, well, it's very unlikely they would go straight to the capital city of Ukraine, because in the past they kind of just eked out territories on the border between Ukraine and Russia. Like, what are the chances they're really gonna like storm the city and lay siege to the people here? Why would they do that? And besides, I really don't want to leave my home, as I mentioned. So there is a part of me that just doesn't want to believe it's going to happen, because it will be so much pain and trouble if it does. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, Jason, maybe the smart thing would be to just get the heck out of there. Just fly out of there. Haven't you been paying attention to the news? Don't you see the danger? Yeah, I do. But I'm trying to be calm and collected and analytical about it and not just let my emotions rule. So my next thought is, okay, if I did leave, would it be before an invasion or after? Obviously, before gives you more time to react, and the streets aren't jammed with traffic. The airport is still functioning. You know, things like food and water and electricity are still available. But if you leave before the invasion, then you take the risk that you were wrong and an invasion never occurred, and you lost all this time, all this money, moving your stuff. Maybe I'll lose my $1,000 deposit on this apartment, trying to find a new place to live in a different country. You know, you did all this stuff for nothing because the invasion didn't actually occur. On the other hand, maybe I would rather avoid that, so I want to just wait and see. I'll continue to live here. I'll continue to make YouTube videos. I'll go to the gym. But if the Russian troops in Belarus do march across the border and start to head towards Kiev, then I'll get out of here as fast as possible. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards right now, because assuming they didn't just directly bomb the city, if they started to invade in the north and come down, I would theoretically see that in the news and have time to kind of get out even if I had to take like a small local bus just to get outside of the city, and from there maybe a train somewhere else. You know, I could just have my backpack and one luggage, take the most expensive things, leave everything else. And where would I go? Well, from here I could either go west towards Lviv, another city in Ukraine, but it's much closer to Poland, you know, further away from Russia, so theoretically safer. Or I could go all the way to Poland and be living over there. That would be fine too. Or a third option could be flying down to Turkey. I've never actually been to Turkey, but I have some friends who live over there and they say it's a good option. Plus, the Turkish lira has devalued against the US dollars significantly in the last couple months. It would actually be cheaper to live there now. That's another little check mark on the evacuate to Turkey side. So in the meantime, like I said, I'm just kind of doing a wait and see thing. And basically, I'm just like, what would you do if you were in my position? You would just start to collect more information. So I've been pinging a lot of my friends to kind of see how other people feel about the situation. You know, if all your friends are evacuating the city, you're probably going to be compelled to do the same. But so far, none of my friends are running. Most of them are just kind of waiting and seeing. So that's what I continue to do, as well as I'm monitoring the news sources every day. Today I spent literally about 4 hours reading the news and watching videos on this. And now here I am making my own video about this. Not that I really have a whole lot to offer, except for my opinion as someone here in this situation. Other ways I'm trying to collect information, I even went on the Facebook group. They have one set up here for foreigners living in Kiev. And I looked around, and sure enough, people are starting to post about this situation. Actually, it was there I started to see something kind of unusual that I hadn't ever noticed before, but someone had basically posed the question like I am, like, what do you think? Is this safe for Americans to be here? Should we evacuate? What do you think is going to happen? And some people get on there and reply and say, why are you paying attention to all that propaganda? Like, don't be alarmed. Don't panic. There's no way Russia's going to invade Kiev. That's impossible. Like, stop being such an alarmist, you know? And that was the first place I've ever seen people using this propaganda word so much to like say, hey, like you're spreading fear and propaganda by, I don't know, by thinking about this, by considering it. So that was just kind of an interesting dynamic that I noticed there. My girlfriend, she's been paying attention to the news here in Ukraine, and the Ukrainian officials and president have been saying stuff like, keep calm, everything's all right. Don't go out buying all the rice and toilet paper, you know, just relax, it's safe. Which apparently, historically, people have been saying that's when you really want to be afraid. It's weird because we do joke around about the situation quite a lot. Like, we're serious about it and then we're joking around. I guess in some ways you have to kind of relieve the tension. I mean, you're just humans after all. Did I say you? I mean we. We're just humans after all.
You and me both.
And most recently, the US Embassy here in Kiev held a virtual town hall meeting that I attended. I'm signed up to their email list, by the way, ever since I've been living here, so I get periodic emails from them. And lately they've been saying stuff like, yeah, you should get out of Ukraine as soon as possible. And if you waited till after an invasion were to start, we're not going to help you to evacuate, so you need to have your own evacuation plan. So basically they're saying, we're not going to do anything for you. We're not going to help you. Just like during these last couple of years, the US Embassy also did not provide vaccination shots. I had to jump through so many hoops to get the Moderna vaccine here in Kiev as a foreign citizen. It was difficult. So I can say that I'm used to the US Embassy here in Kiev not helping me at all. But anyway, I thought I would attend this online meeting, which was just a couple hours ago. And during the middle of the meeting, I looked, there was like about 850 attendees for the meeting. Everyone's watching, everyone's typing these questions in the chat. They start off the meeting very boringly, listing all this kind of bureaucratic nonsense, and I didn't get too much out of it. At one point, someone was asking how they're supposed to leave the country with their dog, and I'm thinking, is that really the most important thing right now? But I digress. Maybe it is important. The point is, I did not get much useful out of this meeting except for 3 things that happened, which is I found out that there is currently no land travel to Poland, so I cannot take a train and enter Poland. And why is that? Because of COVID lockdowns. Because obviously, that's more dangerous than a Russian invasion. So there goes that idea. Other people suggested that instead going to Hungary could be a good option. So that's my new Poland in my mind is Hungary. Hashtag Hungary is the new Poland. Second thing I ascertained from this meeting is that they kept repeating that they recommend that you get out of here now, before. It's a lot easier to get out before an invasion starts than after. Unfortunately, I currently have COVID, and so does my girlfriend. So even if I wanted to leave the country right at this moment, I couldn't. And I don't know, I find that somehow kind of funny. Like, which is really more dangerous, a Russian invasion of troops, or the Omicron variant, which everyone's gonna get anyway? And my last thing that I'm kind of paying attention to as I test the waters and decide what to do is, are there any meetings currently set up in the next couple of days with ambassadors of Russia and some other country? You know, for the last couple of weeks, I've been able to say, okay, well, I'm nervous, but in 3 days, the leader of this country is meeting with the ambassador from Russia. So they're still talking. You know, so if there stop being meetings with ambassadors planned, then I think that's another reason to consider vacating as soon as possible. So now you see my decision process that I'm using for what to do next. And lastly, that brings us to the COVID section of this video. I got COVID, I don't know, about 7 days ago. The first day I felt what seemed to be like a sinus infection, kind of like a pain here, you know. I went to bed. I had the worst night of sleep in my life. Tossing and turning, being too cold and too hot. I was having these body aches like in my lower back and stuff. After getting on this antibiotics and ibuprofen, I just got progressively and significantly better every single day. And for the last couple days, I've been feeling fine. Also, my girlfriend came over because she wanted to help take care of me. And she figured she might as well just get COVID so she can like rip off the Band-Aid and be done with it. And about 3 days ago, she got COVID. So she's going through the same kind of thing, you know. The symptoms are different for everyone. Like her throat's sore, whereas mine is not. But yeah, she's just, you know, pretty much recovering now and doing better. She's actually back there in that room right now. So, bringing this all back together, you know, the really imminent threat of invasion from Russia and the COVID situation. It's literally like this. One day I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I should leave tomorrow. And the next day I'm thinking like, other people aren't really panicking yet. Like, maybe this isn't so bad. The next day I'm like, this is the beginning of World War III. Ukraine is not part of NATO. NATO is not going to do anything to help. Russia's just going to storm in. And they're going to look at me and be like, who's this American spy? Let's confiscate all this stuff and interrogate him. Or they'll just be like, oh, it's an American. We don't care. Go on your way. You know, one of those two options. Not really sure which one it would be. Today was one of those days where after looking at the news, I was thinking like, oh crap. We should leave immediately. Like maybe I can buy tickets to fly out tomorrow. And then it occurred to me, because my girlfriend got COVID 3 days ago, she's not going to be testing clear for any PCR tests that are required at the airport. We literally won't be able to fly out of here. What's more important, like fleeing a battle or preventing the spread of Omicron, which is so highly contagious anyway? Which one, if you have to choose, which one is more critical? That's kind of crazy to think about. And I suppose that's pretty much it. I don't know why exactly I made this video. I just felt like it might be interesting to share what I'm thinking since I'm over here and this situation is just getting worse and worse every day. Hopefully we'll look back at this and nothing will have occurred and you'll be like, Jason, oh my gosh, why did you worry so much? What a worry wart. What a negative Nancy. Also, don't forget the Patreon, you know? In case you want to help support this channel's continued existence, or you would like to learn from some of the magic tutorials I've uploaded there, or if you want to help just support me during these kind of difficult times, that would be cool too. Thank you for being here. Hope you're having a wonderful week. Keep it magical, keep it safe, don't be attacked by any foreign militaries, and I'll see you next time. Yup.